number were you calling, madam?
Why, it was supposed to be Murray Hill 40098, but it wasn't. Some wires must have crossed. I was caught into a wrong number, and I've just heard the most dreadful thing. A murder. And, operator, you'll simply have to retrace that call at once.
I beg your pardon, madam. I don't quite...
Oh, I know it was a wrong number, and I had no business listening. But these two men, they were cold-blooded fiends, some poor innocent woman who was all alone in a house near a bridge. And we've got to stop them. We've got to.
What number were you calling, madam?
That doesn't matter. This was the wrong number, and you dialed it. And we've got to find out what it was immediately.
But, madam...
Oh, why are you so stupid? Look, it was obviously a case of some little slip of the finger. I told you to try Murray Hill 40098 for me. You dialed it, but your finger must have slipped. And I was connected with some other number. And I couldn't hear them, but they couldn't hear me. Now, I simply fail to see why you couldn't make that same mistake again on purpose. Why couldn't you try to dial Murray Hill 40098 in the same careless sort of way?
Murray Hill 40098. I will try to get it for you, madam.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Murray Hill 40098 is busy.
Operator! Operator!
Yes, madam.
You didn't try to get that wrong number at all. I asked explicitly, and all you did was dial correctly.
I'm sorry. What number were you calling?
Can't you for once forget what number I was calling and do something specific? Now, I want to trace that call. It's my civic duty. It's your civic duty to trace that call and to apprehend those dangerous killers. And if you won't,
I will connect you with the chief operator.
Please.
This is a chief operator.
Chief operator, I want you to trace a call, a telephone call, immediately. I don't know where it came from or who was making it, but it's absolutely necessary that it be tracked down because it was about a murder. Yes, a terrible, cold-blooded murder of a poor innocent woman tonight at 11:50.
I see.
Can you trace it for me? Can you track down those men?
It depends, madam.
Depends on what?
It depends on whether the call is still going on. If it's a live call, we can trace it on the equipment. If it's been disconnected, we can.
Disconnected?
If the parties stop talking to each other.
Oh, but of course they must have stopped talking to each other by now. That was at least 5 minutes ago. And they didn't sound like the type who would make a long call.
Well, I can try tracing it. Now, what is your name, madam?
Mrs. Stevenson. Mrs. Albert Stevenson. But listen.
And your telephone number?
Plaza 42295. But if you go on wasting all this time...
And what is your reason for wanting this call traced?
My reason? Well, for heaven's sake, isn't it obvious? I overheard two men. They're killers. They're planning to murder this woman. It's a matter for the police.
Have you told the police?
No, how could I?
You're making this check into a private call purely as a private individual.
Yes, but meanwhile...
Well, Mrs. Stevenson, I seriously doubt whether we could make this check for you at this time just on your say-so as a private individual. We'd have to have something more official.
Oh, for heaven's sake. You mean to tell me I can't report a murder without getting tied up in all this red tape? Why, it's perfectly idiotic. All right, then. I will call the police. Ridiculous.
Your call, please.
The police department, please.
Ringing the police department.
Police Department, Precinct 43, Duffy speaking.
Police department? Oh, this is Mrs. Stevenson. Mrs. Albert Smythe Stevenson of 53 North Southern Place. I'm calling to report a murder.
Eh?
I mean, the murder hasn't been committed yet. I just overheard plans for it over the telephone, over wrong number that the operator gave me. I've been trying to trace the call myself, but everybody's so stupid, and I guess in the end you're the only person who could do anything.
Yes, ma'am.
It was perfectly definite murder. I heard their plans distinctly. Two men were talking, and they were going to murder some woman at 11:15 tonight. She lived in a house near a bridge.
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a private patrolman on the street. He was going around for a beer on 2nd Avenue. And there was some third man, a client, who was paying to have this poor woman murdered. They were going to take her rings and bracelets and use a knife. Well, it's unnerved me dreadfully. And I'm not well.
I see. When was all this, ma'am?
About 8 minutes ago. Oh, then you can do something. You do understand.
And what's your name, ma'am?
Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Stevenson.
And your address?
53 North Southern Place. That's near a bridge. The Queensboro Bridge. You know, and we have a private patrolman on our street. And 2nd Avenue.
And what was the number you were calling?
Murray Hill 40098. But that wasn't the number I overheard. I mean, Murray Hill 40098 is my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I was trying to reach him to ask him to come home. I'm an invalid, you know, and it's